Hello, welcome to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. My name is Claire Hill, self-belief and business coach and founder of the Vivid Business Club. And before I introduce my guest today, go and check, are you following? Are you subscribing? It means so much to me, and it's like giving me a high five saying, your podcast is really smashing and I love it. So go on, go and be a good Samaritan. So not a good Samaritan, just be a really good person. Not saying that anyone's not a good person if you don't follow or subscribe. It's just really kind. There you go. I've said it. I always feel really bad when you're asking for people to like show their appreciation for a free podcast. But welcome, Claudia, to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm really well, thank you. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, we're going to have a lovely chat. You are a multi-six-figure marketing and sales coach living on an island in Thailand. And I'm pretty sure you live on my favorite island of Thailand. And you specialize in teaching to make consistent high-ticket sales, even with a small audience, with sales psychology, which I freaking love, and a sales psychology infused content strategy. Oh, I love that. I love that. How did this all begin, Claudia? What's the business love story?
Yeah, I feel like it's a really long story, but
That's okay. All my people love it. We settled down. Everyone's got their cups of tea. Don't worry about it.
Amazing. Yeah, so when I left university, I'd studied marketing at university, but I didn't go into a marketing job because the pay was awful. Junior marketing roles were paying next to nothing, not enough to live on. So I went into a customer service job in a bank. It was soul destroying. I hated it. And I wanted nothing more than just to go traveling, travel the world. So when I was around 24, so I was in my corporate job just a few years, I decided to quit and I booked a one-way ticket to Thailand with my partner and we started backpacking. And our backpacking trip lasted about 2 years. But during that time, I just fell in love with just being abroad, traveling, meeting new people, having new experiences. And deep down, I had this anxiety that one day I'd have to go home and it'd all be over and I'd be back in my job, answering phones and just feeling that same kind of boredom of just doing the same thing every single day and being stuck in an office. So I decided that I needed to do something. I had no idea what it was at the time, but I needed to do something to make sure that that wasn't going to happen. So when I was traveling, I met so many people who were working online, doing all of these kinds of things. And at first, I had a really bad mindset around all of this at first. And I thought, that can't be me. These are special kind of people. I can't do things like that. I can't start a business. But eventually, I think it just chipped away at me for the whole time I was traveling. And I just kind of threw myself into a couple of things. It started with a travel blog, which did not take off at all, did not last. And then I started doing social media management and offering virtual assistant services, which is how it kind of all kicked off. This was alongside me teaching English in Vietnam. I had some extra time on my hands whilst I was doing that. And I had no idea what would happen. It was so scary, but within 6 weeks, I had my first client who was paying me £15 an hour, but it was still my first client. I was so excited about it. And things kind of just snowballed from there. Coincidentally, this actually happened right before the pandemic. So we were in Vietnam. The pandemic came along literally 3 months into my brand new business, and we had to fly home back to the UK. And I had a choice right there in that moment. I only had about 2 clients, I think, at that time. And my choice was, do I go and get a job in Tesco because that was the only place hiring right now? Or do I take a chance on my business and go all in and just focus on that and focus on growing that? And that's what I decided to do. And then focus the whole pandemic growing the business. Within 6 months, we were fully booked with a team of 3. And it just kept evolving. Eventually, I figured that I love content marketing. That's how I got all my clients. I loved all things organic content. So I became more of an expert in that. I started offering strategy, coaching, consulting, running courses, running group programs. And 5 years later, here we are. And I'm back in Thailand and I'm living here permanently now. So it's kind of a full circle moment for me being here.
Wow. Oh, don't you just love your business love story? Isn't it? Like...
Yeah, literally. It's actually nice telling it. It's been a while since I've told it. So it's nice sitting here and kind of reflecting back on that, to be honest.
Yeah, see how far you've come. It's like, it's amazing. I've just, like, I said to my husband the other day, I literally adore Thailand. I've been so many times and I've been to Vietnam and traveled and all of that. There's something about Thailand though, isn't it? It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I should be there. And I said to my other half, depending on how the elections go, I was like, I think we need to move to Thailand because it's just, or even just buy somewhere out there. It's just the most
Yeah.
amazing place. And the fact that you get to run such a successful business, living the dream. And I know have you moved into the new place yet? Or you've just got the new,
Yeah.
you've moved in?
Yeah. We've literally just moved into the villa that was on my vision board for the last 2 years. So it's a beautiful ocean view, cliffside villa. And it's honestly, it's gorgeous. And I can't even, I've just spent the whole week just being so grateful and practicing gratitude for being here. It's incredible. And it's mad to even think that, 5 years ago, I was living in a 1-bedroom flat with mold everywhere in Manchester. And now I'm here. It's crazy.
Amazing. What do you think are the superpowers or the elements of you that are the most important that have got you to here right now, from that flat in Manchester to here? What's it taken to get there?
I think the main things have been consistency and persistence. So one of the reasons why I feel like things have gone so well for me, and I do speak about this often, is that I take messy action, and I always have. And I've always wanted to go out and just try things and see if it works and experiment and not care too much if things flop or don't work. So one example is, from the moment I started my Instagram page, and I knew nothing back then about content strategy, I was posting every single week on Instagram for the last 5 years. I think maybe I've missed 1 week of posting in the whole 5 years I've been doing this. And that, I think, has led me to a place where I learned so much, I experimented so much. I was able to grow and just become really good at what I do. And it's that consistency and that persistence, and not letting, things get to me if things aren't working or if things don't pan out. And it's just kind of thinking, okay, what else can I try? What different things can we look at? What can I do differently to move forward? I've always thought like that. I've had moments where I've had failed launches, and they felt really shit at the time, but the next week I've been like, okay, what can I try this time? What can I do differently? What's next? So I've never, I have had moments where I've thought, oh, do I want to give up? But that's never been the overarching thought. It's always been, actually, what can I do differently now?
So your ability, and I think I share this with you, Claudia, that grit to say, if it does feel really, really shit right now, but there is something inside of me saying that I can still move forward, and this is a lesson, because I don't believe in failure. You're either winning or you're learning. And I think moving forward with that determination that you can get better, and it's not that you're a failure, is so important in being a business owner, isn't it? Sort of, because also with being an online business owner, you have to be visible in a really different way to another kind of business. Because if you were, front facing, you were meeting people in and out of offices, you would get an immediate reaction to how you are being perceived and how you're being received in that, because body language, you'll pick up on it. And so I feel like you learn maybe a little bit more quickly about how to sell in that way. I'm sure, like, the people that used to bang on the doors, like selling windows and stuff back in the day, would have, felt the same way. But on an online business, you're creating content and you've no idea until it's already out there, and potentially hundreds of thousands of people have seen it, and then you're learning. But you've already sort of, but it's not just like one person that you've seen and then close the door. It's essentially lots of people, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing, especially as a new business owner, because you've got friends and family watching you, you've got peers and acquaintances watching you. And it's really scary. And actually, fear of judgment is one of the hardest things when you first start out. And especially because when you first start out, you're not very good at what you're doing. So, you know, you feel like everyone's judging you. But you have to almost get past that, because yes, people might judge you, but ultimately, if you let people's judgments hold you back, you're never going to be where you want to be. So although I still have fear of judgment now, you know, when I see my mum like my posts, it makes me cringe. Like, but I can get past it now and think it doesn't matter, because this is moving my business forward and this is taking me to where I want to be in my life. So, you know, it's moving past that fear.
That identity you had back in Manchester, that you've obviously not changed, but you've like evolved and become an even better version of yourself to get to where you are right now. And I'm asking this question with my own experience. Those people that were in your life in Manchester when you were in that, you know, in that old life, those people ever hold you back with that? I don't think they would hold you back now, but do you fear their judgment, or were they just the most amazing people in your life and they're still in your life and they've lifted you up and moved you forward?
I would say the people that are in my life have changed considerably over the last 5 years. And, you know, I do have like some incredible friends that I are still my best friends, and, you know, have been around and supported me the whole time, some of which have also started their own businesses as well. But I do think that when you sometimes, as a business, I don't know if you've ever experienced this or anyone listening, but I do think you grow apart from some people as you grow so much as a person.
Yeah.
And as you become successful, you find that people aren't as supportive as you think they're going to be, or they don't really understand you anymore, or they kind of distance themselves. And it is a bit of a shame, but I think sometimes you have to move forward from that. And as you grow, when you grow as a person, you do need to find new circles, I guess, people who are more there who are going to help lift you up rather than want to bring you down.
I think everybody. I remember going to an event in Manchester actually a couple of years ago, and it was all, you know, six figure, seven, or on their very either seven figure or on their way to. It was full of these people, and I was in there, and it was the only time that I'd ever been in a room of women where almost all of us had lost friends, and it had been a really big part of our journey, because I'd lost like my bestest friend. We're not friends anymore, and I don't know whether it's because I was, but it's a very complex story. But knowing that I had to do that to get to where, or that process was really, really challenging. But I didn't have anybody to talk to about it, because I didn't know anyone until I got in that room with all of those people on that similar like plane to me. And I thought, this is a rite of passage. This is like part of the process. It's which, and the reason I've brought it up with you, Claudia, is only because your transformation has been, you know, for actually from it's quite a short period of time, and it's really amazing and phenomenal. And I can really appreciate how freaking hard it has been in moments of when things have not gone to plan, and how much you've got to actually hustle back behind the scenes for that kind of success. And I think I saw a piece of content that you did the other day about people saying, I think I screenshotted it actually because I wanted to talk to you about it, but I don't know where my phone is. But it was basically you saying, you know, people will say you only have to work 2 hours a day. It's an absolute lie. It really winds me up when people say that. Exactly what you were saying. You were saying other things like, I might be in my dream home, which if anybody is watching, go and look at Claudia's Instagram, TikTok. It really is a dream. And I saw your story about, like, this is what the vision board said, and this is where I'm living now. It's just utterly gorgeous, and I'm so happy for you. It's just wonderful. And I can just feel, just thinking about it, I can feel the Thailand sun on my face, and oh god, I need to go. I think I'm going in October actually, but anyway. So on the east side, what was I saying? Oh yeah, about the hustle. And you were really I feel like we're really raw in those stories, just being like, I have not got here by working 2 hours a day. I've got here through working really, really, really hard. And I was really pleased that you spoke about that, because there's not enough people that do.
Yeah. And I honestly feel like I'm guilty of not speaking about it enough, to be completely honest. And it made me realize the other day when I did post those stories, because I got a huge response from it, actually.
Yeah.
Loads of people reached out and said how much they resonated. Because, you know, I shared my new home that I've moved into, which is beautiful. But I really did want to show that actually it has been a really tough journey as well. You know, there's been incredible highs and there's been so much fun and it's been amazing. And I'm so happy that I've been on this journey, but there's been some incredibly hard and low moments. Even recently, you know, even when you reach a point in your business where you're seen to be quite successful, there's very difficult moments that happen behind the scenes, you know, things that are very stressful and things that make you, you know, have emotional breakdowns, for example. But you know, that still happens when you get to your dream business level, whatever that looks like for you. So I do want to share more of that, because I think it is important to show that, because everybody shows social media as a highlight reel, and me included sometimes. So we need to kind of show more of the reality, I think.
I think it's I mean, inside my membership, the Vivid Business Club, I'm recently sharing right now that I looked at the training inside the membership, and I knew that I had to upgrade it, because it's like 2 years old. I needed to up level it a bit, but I didn't realize how much. So I've just literally gone, right, I'm just going to create just a whole new course. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start today. I'm just going to get it done. And I was really transparent and showing, like, I went live in the group and just said, this is what it takes. Like, I know that if I've got to do that, I've got to ask for more help. So I was driving back from my friends on Sunday, and I was like, okay, I've got to do the school run, but I can't do the school run because that's like 4 hours lost out of the week. And if I do the school run, I'm not going to sleep. So though I feel guilty I couldn't do the school run, but does my son want a mum that's not, you know, that's actually slept? So I sort of balanced it out, asked them for support, explained, like asked my in-laws for support, which for me was massive. I actually like felt nervous saying out loud to like ask for extra help. Spoke to my husband. He's going away this weekend, but then when he's coming back, he's going to take over everything, so that I've got like all of this time. I've booked some time for me to go away in a hotel, so I don't have to do anything wife and mum. I'm just business owner. But that gives me capacity to do it, so I can work potentially 15 hours a day, maybe even longer than that, so I can get it done. But it's a short period of time. And then in August, I've got the whole August off. I've got 2 weeks off in October. I'll have 3 weeks in December. So it's, you know, but I was really, I think this is, and I had a call with a one-to-one client today, actually. And she was saying, I don't think I can fit it in. But this is, if you want something in your business, and the only way that it's going to get done is if you do it, you just got to move through. And there's that balance of people saying, oh, you know, you don't want to burn out. You don't want to burn out. You know, you don't want to hustle. It's not supposed to be that. But I'm actually really enjoying working that this much, you know, like deep diving into creating courses and, you know, but being honest and saying, yeah, guys, I got up at 5:30 on Monday morning and I worked till 10, but you're going to have a banging course. You're going to get the results. And then I'm going to have probably loads of time off. So it's all fine. And that's what you've got to do. Just that, like you were saying, sharing that behind the scenes of what it actually means to get a successful business.
Yeah. One of the biggest things I talk about is freedom and having a freedom business and having time freedom. But I am also, like you, very transparent in the fact that I go through periods where I really want to grow and where I really want to work on multiple projects and where I want to drive the business forward. So I will work sometimes 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I choose that. And I think that's where the freedom comes in. It's freedom of choice. I've chosen to work those hours. Like, if I was just doing the bare minimum, serving my clients and just showing up and just running my marketing, I wouldn't have to work that much because I've built an amazing team. I've built amazing systems. So I went to Bali recently, just on a little bit of a holiday. I didn't take time out of office this time. I didn't feel like I needed to. So I think I worked about 2 or 3 hours a day when I was in Bali, and the rest was done by my team. But that's not usual for me. That was just me running the business at the bare minimum, right, and serving my clients. But other times I might work a lot more than that, and other times might be more normal where I'm working, I don't know, 6 hours a day or something like that. But I choose when I work, and that's the most incredible thing, right? Freedom of choice.
That's it. I choose to work for like a long day, but I just love the days when it's like building something. So it's a course or the tech stuff or the content, like the real strategy deep dive stuff that you really need that flow time for. Getting in my trackies and scraping my hair up and just like, I don't have to talk to anybody today. I can just like get really into it. And I love doing all of that kind of stuff. So I get quite excited. I'm really excited about going away on my own to go for like 3 days and just zone out. It's going to be bliss. Room service on tap.
I love that.
So you've reached your 6-figure business owner, you're multi 6 figures. How have you found the challenges to be different now you are at that level?
So I think at this level, the challenge is they're less about getting clients, they're less about cash flow and consistency in bringing clients in, which is what you kind of experience more at the earlier level. But now it's more about when you're managing more clients, it's about managing the group dynamics, about managing different issues that can come up with clients, or it's managing issues that come up with the team, making sure that you're delegating, running the team efficiently so that you're not in the, so that the business is not running you, because there's a lot of moving pieces, right? So it's about how can you be a better leader, both for your clients and for your team, so that you can get them better results and so that your team can support you better in the business.
And do you feel like that is a messy middle kind of where you've learned it? The lessons have been in the messy middle?
Yeah, I do feel like this is something that you have to kind of learn on the job. Like it's something that you can't just sit and learn a strategy, because different situations come up that are so unique that to each and everyone's business that you just kind of have to learn how to deal with it at the time. So yeah, it can get messy, but you learn so much about what people need from you and about how to become a leader. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think, when people say I love the messy middle, but I think people actually think it can be really messy. But I don't think it's always has to be really messy to be there. I think it just has to be sort of raw and undone and, just getting it started.
I think maybe the messy middle, maybe we've moved past that a little. So I think the messy middle can be when you're in a place where business is doing really well, but you haven't set up any of the systems or the team to really be able to support you at that level, so that things become really tough. So I know quite a lot of clients come to me and they're at their consistent 10K a month mark, for example, but they are so burnt out and they're like, how could I possibly go any further than this or bring in more revenue than this? Because I couldn't possibly take on more clients. Sometimes even when they've got a scalable offer, like a group program, they're like, I don't know how I could, run this with more clients in it or have any more offers, because things feel too hard and messy right now. So it's not about doing more a lot of the time. It's about streamlining, optimizing. How can I automate more? How can I build a really efficient team, not just hiring anyone and everyone, but building an efficient team that works together collaboratively, so that you're not just like, throwing tasks at people, but your team are actually working together to run the business when you're not available.
Yeah, I have that with my assistant. That the other week, I've realised we'd missed our normal meeting because I think I had a client thing, or we didn't. And then I realised by Thursday I hadn't spoken to her, and I was like, Hannah, everything okay? She was like, yeah, everything's fine. I was like, do you need anything? She was like, no. She went, this is why we've got processes and systems. Like, she just runs the show. She does all the bits and bobs, and then I just check in and it's like, oh, and that's what I feel like that beginning part. I don't think it's ever too early to put those processes and systems in. Have you read the E-Myth book?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's like how you build a business with a franchise model, but you don't obviously need to sell it as a franchise model, but the way you design your business so that when you delegate, it's just like you just give away chunks and it's already all set up. And I did that a while ago. And it's just been one of the most amazing things, because it's so easy for me to just go bang, like, here's a chunk, and then having all of the processes. But E-Myth, if anyone else is listening, read E-Myth. It's so, so good. So your favorite things to talk about: sales psychology and buyer, sort of the different buyers, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why is because it's basically just understanding what drives people to buy. And I think so many people don't learn this information, and then when they don't get sales, they just think there's something wrong with them, or something wrong with their content, or something, wrong with their offer. But a lot of the time it's just that you don't understand how people like to buy. We all have different buyer personalities, we all have different buyer behaviors, and we choose to buy based on a lot of different factors. So there's some like real world examples I can share with you. When you walk into a shop, they will place products in certain positions to prime you to buy them, right? For example, they will put things at like the products on the shelf in the supermarket that are at eye level are usually the products that they want to sell the most of in the supermarket, or the products that are like they would prefer to sell, and the ones that they don't want to sell as much go at the bottom, right? So that's kind of priming people to buy. So we can do the same thing with our content and our marketing. We can prime people to buy and tap into the buyer behaviors once we understand them, and enhance the buying decision that people have.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like buyer behavior has changed in the last few years?
100%, absolutely. It's changed so much. And one example I can very easily give you is people don't want to see ads as much, or ads that look like ads, right? So, we have Netflix now, which has no ads. We have YouTube, which you can pay to get rid of the ads, and a lot of people do. And some of the other streaming services as well, you can pay to get rid of ads. When you see ads come up on Instagram, a lot of the time you're just going to scroll past it. You don't want to see it, right? On TikTok now, a lot of companies, they will create videos that don't actually look like ads. They just look like your usual TikTok trends that they will follow. And they will kind of, introduce their product in there and make it more fun and make it just entertaining. So that's one example. So one of the things that I work on with my clients is how to sell without constantly promoting or constantly advertising things, and actually leading more with value, leading more with transformation, rather than just saying, this is my offer, this is what it does, this is why you should buy it.
I found as well, when you've had because my first business was started before COVID, but then through the pandemic, I had it, and this one started afterwards. But how people used to be able to, I would put an offer out, and I would quite quickly have people buy, or a couple of days after the offer was out. And then you would always have a last minute link at the end, just to check that they were there. But now I feel that there's more people coming to the end of the offer, like with the period of the offer.
Yes.
And then, have you found the same?
Yes. And I also feel like people need longer to make decisions now than they used to. So we used to have when I was launching during the pandemic, actually, and using launch strategy, we used to have very, very fast urgency. Like, you've got 3 days to sign up kind of thing. And now, depending on how much the offer costs, now you want to give people a lot longer. People don't want to jump on the urgency as much. They just want time to make a decision.
Yeah, it's like people are, because I don't think, obviously in this country, there's been, economy and stuff, which I don't talk about because I don't believe it can matter. So I'll just shelve that one. But I feel like it's not that people don't spend or invest in themselves. There's just a lot more choice. And I feel like that is, and I know that you do this in your marketing and content, it's about building that connection. And I see a lot with my clients when they start working with me. You've got brilliant, you might have had a reel go viral. You've got all these people flooding into the top of your funnel. But how do they get to know you? And like, basically they got to fall in love with you, especially if you're a coach like us. They've got to think that you are really lush and they want to go out and have a drink with you and just having your life, because you are going to be part of a huge transformation. And I see some people's content, this is no one knows who you are. Like, and it goes from top of funnel straight to sales. It's like
Yeah.
giving you like, oh, why aren't I converting? Like, oh,
Yeah.
no one knows who you are.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed, I actually ask a question on my onboarding forms when clients sign up to work with me, and one of the questions is, why did you choose me as your mentor? And it's surprising, or maybe not so surprising actually, but it's interesting to see how many people say, oh, it's because I really resonated with you and your story, or I really thought you were authentic, or I really thought you were real, and I loved your kind of lifestyle videos. I get that all the time. And again, it does come down to the different buyer personalities as well, and the different, what draws people in the most. But some people do thrive off that connection. They need to know that they can resonate with you and relate to you and have things in common with you. So, I do attract a lot of people who love traveling and live abroad. Half of my clients are actually in Southeast Asia
I
a lot
love
of the
that.
time. Because, and I've met loads of them out here because they also travel and they come to Thailand, and I've met some in Bali. So, you like attracts like, but if people don't know what you are like, you're not going to attract people.
Yeah, that's I think that's why this podcast, I just love this doing the podcast so much, because some people will listen to one episode and then they'll binge quite a few, and they'll obviously, there's a lot of value when you're doing a podcast, but on the other side of it, that it's like they already know who I am, because I obviously am just myself, just talking, and I think it's a really good way for people to get to know me, but also doing lives on Instagram. But I know that you, as I am in your membership at the moment, I haven't started the TikTok challenge yet. I'm going to. I've watched some of the training because I was really interested in, and what hooked me into that challenge was the using TikTok as a funnel, the top of the funnel, and then leading them into Instagram. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. I really like that principle. Can you, like, how did you discover that that was a way to do it? What was your sort of thinking behind it?
Yeah, so Instagram has always been my primary platform, and I've always been really good at nurturing and selling to people on Instagram. And there came a time where engagement and reach on Instagram did drop for everybody. It was across the board. Reels were popping off at first, and then kind of reach decreased quite a bit. And at that time, instead of complaining about, oh my God, I'm not getting the reach, I'm not getting the followers, I was thinking, how can I solve that problem? So I thought, TikTok is actually getting really popular right now. Maybe I should look at how I can utilize that in my business. And at first it was more of an experiment, right? And I started posting. At first I was very inconsistent, not much happened. I had a video go viral, nothing came from it. But then about 6 months in, I decided, right, I'm just going to go all in with this. Try it out, get some help. I got some people to help me with the strategy for it because I was new to the platform. And within 6 months, I had, I think, maybe about 5,000 followers. I had multiple people had come over to follow me on Instagram. I had about 500 extra people on my email list, and I had multiple people actually convert and become my clients. And a lot of the time, what happened was the funnel was that they would find me on TikTok, sometimes sign up to my email list, but a lot of the time they actually came over to Instagram, the warmest people. And that's where they were really nurtured, and they then would convert into a client. And the reason behind this is because the algorithms for TikTok and Instagram are very different. Whereas on TikTok, when you post something, it gets pushed out to people who are not following you and people on the For You page. So new audiences are seeing you all of the time, which is really, really great for visibility and reaching new people. Whereas on Instagram, when you post something, it gets pushed out to your audience first. So you can be sure that a lot of the time your audience are consistently seeing you if they're following you, or that's what should be happening. If they like you and they're engaging with your content, they will keep seeing your content come up on Instagram. So that's why Instagram's so great as a nurture and a sales tool. And TikTok is so great as a visibility tool. And that's why the two together work really well.
I love it. And I just think it's like, I'm I've got hardly any followers on TikTok, and my assistant Hannah has been creating content for me on there of the podcast, because obviously there's hours and hours of podcast content and repurposing it, and podcasts do well on there, but we haven't seen any traction yet. And then I was watching your training and I said, Hannah, it's because I'm not doing what I actually do on Instagram more, that talking head stuff. You know, I'm really good at talking head reels, explaining things. And then the one thing that I don't do, and this is where I feel really inspired to take action on this. So I think as soon as we've stopped recording, I'm just going to go and do one, is that period of time where you introduce what you're going to talk about, but you don't give it away. And what I think I do, and it's not because I think it's just, it is a strategy thing, isn't it? And I saw you do it today. Was it today or yesterday? Where you said the one thing that gives him the ick about what you do on stories. And I've seen coaches, and I was watching it, and this is exactly what everyone does. And I love stories, and my other account I grew to 17,000 on Vivid Wire, and on Instagram I'm nearly 18. I've lost loads of followers now because of the business not really doing much at the moment. And I was like, I know how to grow an Instagram. I know how to nurture. I know how to do these sales. But what I do is I literally just give it away straight away. And then in this reel that you did, or TikTok video, whatever it was, you were saying, this is the one thing that gives me the ick. And then you carried on talking for ages. And I thought, oh, she's doing that 20-second thing. I'm watching her and I can't not look away because I need to check that I'm not doing the thing that gives her the ick. And then when you did it, I was like, oh no, I don't do that great. I was like, thank God. But I thought, this is it. This is the key of dragging it out. And I saw somebody else doing it as well, somebody that I've started following. And I was like, and also who, very similar to you, big on TikTok, not so big on Instagram. And I was like, oh, I wonder if she uses the same kind of thing. And I was like, that's it. I'm just giving everything away straight away. I'm like, here you go. Do you want to believe in yourself straight away? I need to hold myself back a bit to reach more people.
Yeah, it's all about the watch time. And I honestly think TikTok, you can really look at the analytics and kind of predict why a video's not done well. Instagram, I don't see as much of a pattern with analytics versus like I've looked at watch time and things like that on Instagram, and it's not really consistent with what the results of the video are. But on TikTok, every video that I've had that's gone viral, the watch time has been very high. Whereas when I see the watch times low, the views are low. So it really does coincide. So if you can figure out how to get your watch time higher, i.e. hook people in and get them, like creating that intrigue and that build up before you get to the main point of the video, that's when the video is going to do well and it's going to get pushed out to more people. Obviously, engagement helps as well, comments, likes, shares, but watch time is really important.
And I think that is so refreshing, because I really want TikTok to work for me. I think that my style and obviously with the podcast and everything would work really well on TikTok. But the fact that you gave me like a formula, like a mathematical thing for me to build on. And you know how it's all, I've used lots of things to, I've used real formulas where there's on Instagram, you get the hook, you've got the trending audios, but I don't feel like I've had much traction from anything like that. I might have gained a few followers. I get more interaction, engagement from me talking. And I think from my point of view, I'm going to help you overcome your doubt. Like, you need to know what my face is and my voice and all of that.
Yeah.
But with this formula, you've given me like a way to measure whether it's going to, I just love little blocks like that. And I feel like it's so lovely to learn from each other and collaborate in this way, because I feel inspired now. And I think sometimes you can get a bit bogged down. Though I love creating content to a level, sometimes I'm like, I've got so much going on in the business, even though I block book and all of that. Sometimes you just need that little spark of inspiration to make it, oh, I wonder if that's actually going to work. Like, I really want to see if it will.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many little there's so much to social media and so much you can learn. I'm still learning every day. And even though this is kind of my job, social media strategy is what I do with my clients, I am still experimenting every day. Like, I'm still I have set strategies that I teach and processes and systems, but I say to all of my clients, you should be experimenting, you should be having fun as well. Yes, follow a strategy, but on top of that, try things with your audience. You know, we all have different businesses, different ways of doing things, different styles, but social media is changing every single day. The way people buy, their buy behaviors are changing all of the time. So we have to just experiment and see what's going to work. And I think that from the start is, like I said before, is what I've always done and why I've been able to kind of, you know, get the results that I've wanted from social media and then help my clients do the same as well.
I love it. What's next then for your business? What are the next big goals that you're working towards?
So right now, it's not about building more things. I'm really happy with the way that, you know, my product suite is set out. I'm happy with what I've built. Now it's more about refining, optimizing. For me, client experience is one of the most important things. So it's making sure that I can continue to improve and upgrade and, you know, make everything I do for my clients the best it possibly can be. So right now, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm always upgrading the trainings that are in there because, like I said, there's always more things to learn. So I'm always adding to those. And yeah, it's pretty much about optimizing and upgrading and just being the best that we can be for our clients.
Becoming the absolute master. You're in your mastery phase.
Exactly.
Love it. So I ask everybody on the podcast the same question. What would you, no, bloody hell. Sometimes it comes out like that, even though I say it every episode. Then sometimes I can't say it. What do you know now that you wish you knew 10 years ago? There you go.
So I would say 10 years ago, I had a lot of limiting beliefs about my own potential. So I used to believe that I was just destined for an average life, an average salary. You know, I didn't have big goals because I didn't think that I was capable of achieving more. I thought that one day when I was maybe 40, 50 years old, I could maybe have like a 50K salary one day, right, in the future. And just things kind of looked bleak in my mind. So I think what I've learned is that actually we can all tap into unlimited potential. There's so much that you have to change in your mindset though, and you have to be so open to learning and growing. And I think if you're open to getting out of your comfort zone, learning new things always, constantly, you can tap into so much potential. And it's crazy, like looking back and at how I used to think and where my mindset used to be, because if I'd have kept that mindset, I don't know where I'd be right now or how unhappy I might be or, you know, what I might be doing. So I'm so glad that I was able to come out of that. And I think just taking that first step to booking that flight to go traveling actually just changed everything for me, because I started seeing, you know, like being around people who were more open-minded and who were doing these incredible things. And slowly over the years, it chipped away and started to transform my mindset to see that we do all have that potential within us.
What's your favorite, or what tool do you use to help with your mindset that makes the biggest impact on it?
It's a good question. I think over the years I've done lots of different things. I don't think there's any one thing that I do, but a couple of things that have really helped me over the years. One is hypnosis.
Oh,
Hypnosis
really?
is actually, yeah, hypnosis has actually been something that I actually tried from a very young age. When I was about 16, I was going through a period of time where I was so painfully shy that I couldn't even, you know, walk into a shop and speak to, you know, the shop assistant and ask for something. I was so shy, and it was like really affected my quality of life. You know, I didn't have many friends, and my grandparents, who I was living with at the time, took me to a hypnotherapist, which is really weird because they're really old fashioned. So I don't know where they got the idea from. But that like transformed me. Like it built my confidence. I turned into like a different person after these sessions that I had. So since then, I've been a big believer of hypnosis. I listened to Marissa Peer, who is I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. So she's got like a membership and with hypnosis that you can listen to whilst you're falling asleep. And I think that's such a powerful tool to tap into your subconscious, which is a big part of mindset. But then on top of that, to consistently work on my mindset, listening to mindset podcasts, I gratitude journal every single morning. I try to do it every single morning, whether I'm feeling bad or whether I'm feeling good. I think gratitude is one of the most powerful things in the world. Because no matter what you're going through, there's always things to be grateful for. And then when you are doing really well and things are going really well, you have to be grateful. Otherwise you start to take things for granted. So it kind of grounds you into the moment. And sometimes it's hard to be present. So I think having that 5 or 10 minutes in the morning where I'm grounding in the present moment and gratitude for what I have has been really, really important for me.
Yeah, and you can't feel doubt when you're grateful. You can't, those two emotions can't exist in the same space. Inside my membership, we have a WhatsApp group called Bank the Wins. And so part of the membership is that they have to bank all of the little wins as well as the big wins. So it's gratitude, but it's so that they're already rich in wins. So it's about being rich in so many things. So all day, like I could open it now and it is like the biggest dopamine hit because you see all of these things, like they'll be like the sun shining, the blue sky, nice hot cup of tea. But when I'm feeling really shit, because we do sometimes, because I do writing every day as well, I will literally be brushing my hair and I'm like, I'm so grateful I've got a brush. I'm so grateful I've got hair. I'm so grateful I've got clean water. Like there is, like you say, always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do think sometimes as you're growing your business, and I see this often with clients where they're feeling so bad about their business, even when so much is going right. And I think that can happen if you forget to celebrate along the way. You can just be on this hamster wheel of wanting to get to the next achievement. And if you don't quite get there, you feel rubbish, even though you just achieved something, last week. And if you don't sit with that and learn to appreciate the things that you've done and the things that are happening around you, then you would just never be content with what happens in the business or what you achieve. It's so important.
There's another book called The Gap and the Gain by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And that's about having this measure of who you want to be and measuring yourself from the present day to how far away you are from that ideal version of you. So you're focused on the gap instead of being focused on the gain, and seeing, like for you, in your example, looking back and thinking, I've done a really good job. I'm going to thank me for doing all the work, and you've got this, when you really are sitting in that gain, and every single day you're like, what have I gained today? This is such a amazing journey. I know it sounds wanky saying journey, but it's true, because if you aren't in love with the process of growing a business, you might as well give up, because I don't know about you, Claudia. I'm going to get to my ideal place and I'll be like, well, what's next? So my ideal person, like Matthew McConaughey said in his Oscars speech, he always says that, like, his hero is his future him, because it's just always like moving the goalpost. And if you don't let that fuel you and enjoy the process, then it's going to feel like a sack of shit all of the time. It's just not going to feel good at all, is it?
100%. You have to enjoy the journey, otherwise what's the point? Because there's not really a final destination.
No.
There isn't really, like, you're always on the journey, so if you don't enjoy the journey, you're never going to enjoy it.
No. I just wish there was a better word for saying enjoy the journey. Just sounds so wanky, doesn't it? Oh, cheesy, like some cheesy 80s thing. Oh, Claudia, this has been so lush. I knew it would be. I knew it. You are an absolute lush woman, and I love your content. I love everything you're doing.
Thank you
you're
so
just a
much.
joy. Where can people find you?
Yes, so you find me on Instagram at Claudia Woodham, or on TikTok, Claudia.Woodham. I couldn't get the same handle, unfortunately, but there you go. Or claudiawoodham.co.uk if you want to find my website.
And how can people start, like, working with you? Can anyone join your membership? Is there courses people can get hold of?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got, if you're interested in learning about sales content, buyer behaviors, and infusing sales psychology into your content, then my membership is the best place to go. You'll find that on my website. It's called the Social Sales Society. But I also have a ton of free resources if you want to get started on that and just see kind of the behind the scenes of what my strategies look like and how I teach. I've got a couple of mini courses and a free guide as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claudia. It's been lovely to have
Thank you
you.
so much, Claire. This has been lovely.
I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.